Hello, hello. Hi there. Hello everyone, this is Lena with Especially Made for Me. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be making a square wreath today, and I'm actually going to be trying something new. So we're going to be having some fun. I'm going to be doing ruffles, which is something we've done before, but I'm actually going to be doing doubling the actual mesh. So I'm excited. I saw that somewhere and I wanted to try it, but I'm actually going to be doing multiple colors because we're doing a Mardi Gras wreath today. And I'm going to go ahead and change the view. I know you can kind of see right now I'm still cutting the Deco Mesh. Let me put my little mousey away. Still cutting the Deco Mesh. We're going to need a 21-inch, or at least that's what I'm using today. If you're going to be doing this with me, or if you're going to be doing it later, we're going to need a 21-inch roll of mesh. And we also going to need a 10-inch because we're going to be alternating these colors so that we can have the Mardi Gras colors. And it's kind of covered right now, but we are going to be using some tubing, and I think I forgot to put that on the things that we're going to be using. But I'm going to be doing the tubing to add the green, and we do have some ribbons that have all three colors, so you get to see that as well. And we are going to be using some purple and maybe some gold and all of that. So we're going to be mixing up all the colors, just mixing them all in, and we're going to go from there and just kind of have some fun with it. I was hoping to have most of the mesh cut because I know that takes a little bit of time, so bear with me as I do that. I've already got all the purple cut, and then we're going to cut some tubing. And I kind of wanted to do the tubing live because there is a little trick to the tubing, so I want to make sure that that you'll know that trick, because if you stretch the tubing it kind of gets all discombobulated, as I like to say. So we'll work on that. So what I've done so far for the 21-inch, and also when I started with the gold, the 10-inch, I'm cutting them at 30 inches, which is usually a little bit long for when we're doing the ruffles with the 21-inch, but I'm actually going to be folding those. So you'll see what I mean with by that. And then the gold one, I'm also cutting at 30 inches, which normally we do like 20 inches for that. But again, we're trying something new today. And I wanted to make sure I just kind of add something different to the tutorials. Now for the square wreath, I've already put the chenille stems, which you're also going to need. I've already put the chenille stems on it, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. And those I do about 4 inches apart, and I do have a video on that tutorial on how to prepare your wire wreaths, the frames to get ready for making wreaths. So if you want to watch that to actually see the positioning, I do have that available on our viewing list, so you can check for that. So for cutting, I am using the rotary cutter, and I do have the board underneath, so it does have the measurements on there, which is helpful. But you could definitely use a ruler or measuring tape, whatever is convenient for you, whatever you have handy. If by chance you do enough arts and crafts to where you want to invest in these, they're really not don't cost that much at all. I do have affiliate links on the bottom of the video that you could use to just be directly right to be able to purchase those. If you like to use the same tools that I'm using, including the rotary cutter and the wire cutters, I pretty much have everything listed, just in case you don't have it and you would like to actually purchase those. So I'm going to leave the camera view as it is right now. We did some adjustments to make sure that you can see right on the front view. And then once we start putting the wreath together, I'll change the view so that we can have that multiple screen view that I normally use, so that you can still see me but have a bird's eye view on the wreath once we start putting it together. So one of the tips I've given before on my videos, when you're cutting your mesh, you have to know how many chenille stems you've already put on your wreath if it's not one that already comes with the stems on it. So you would always count those. The rule of thumb is 18 depending on where the wreath was made, the wreath form. But I would always count them just to make sure, because that way you'll know how much to cut or how many pieces to cut if you're making ruffles or curls or you know, the woodland ruffle or whichever method you're using, if you're going to have to cut your mesh, it's always good to know how many stems you have, because that lets you know how many pieces you would have to cut of your mesh. So just as a good guide there, rule of thumb. But on our case, since we're doing a square wreath and I put these chenille stems myself, I did count them and I actually have 20, which normally you have an odd number. But with it being square and the way I wanted to position the stems for the to give it the form, it actually came out to 20. We have, I think if I remember, it was 12 on the outer rim and 8 on the inner rim. So usually you should have less on the inner, because the inner of course is smaller than the outer rim. So that should still work. So we'll work on putting all of it together. So what I'm doing here again is just cutting the mesh to size. I am cutting it at 30. And since we are going to be alternating, I did count, I did 10 of the purple, I'm going to do 10 of the gold. So right now we're at 7, looks like. So we need 3 more. So we're almost there, and then we can start putting it together. Now I don't know if you can see it on the video, I do have another 4 that I cut, thinking of the square corners, because I had an idea in mind to kind of give the 4 corners to make them stand out more. So we will see. Okay. So we'll need the 1 more. We'll move some things out of the way here. And then we should have enough to do a little something for the 4 corners if we decide to do that. We'll play it by ear based on time. Don't want to make the video too long. Okay, so there's our 10 for the actual wreath form. Let's see. These are one smaller, so let's see if we'll have enough. Looks like 10. Okay, so with these being 10 inch, I'm going to cut it at 10 inches for the corners. And again, these are just going to be 4 for our corners, and I'm cutting them at 10 inches. Okay, 1, 2, 3, just 1 more. Looks like we'll have plenty. And I'm putting them on the other side just because I don't want them to get confused with the ones that are cut at 30 inches. Although we can definitely tell by the size. Now once you get towards the end of your roll, it does get a little bit more curly, so that is normal. Just make sure you have everything as straight as possible. If you need some help, that's why I had the wire cutters out earlier. It could be an extra set of hands to kind of hold things in place. That way it won't move on you. Alrighty. I'm going to put those away. Okay, so let me go ahead and put these where I can reach them and move my square wreath form, which we need to have in front of us. So I am going to put them up here. So let me know as you're watching if you have any questions, if you may have missed the length that I was using for the cuts, and so on. Okay, I can see the wreath form. Here we go. Okay, so on our wreath form, it is a square wreath form, actually from the Dollar Tree. And I've already put our chenille stems or pipe cleaners, depending on what you are used to calling them. Okay, see if you can, there we go. So I use green because we do have purple mesh and we have gold mesh. So I thought, even though we do have some green tubing that we're going to be using, I wanted to kind of add a little bit more green on here. So this is what we're going to do. I guess I put these the long way, I won't get them confused. So I want to make sure you can see. I'm going to now change the camera view. So I want to make sure that you'll be able to see what I'm doing here, since we're doing something new. And these don't want to stay up there, so I guess I won't put them up. I was trying to make sure I give us some more room so you'll be able to see without these things getting in the way. Okay. Let me change the camera view. Okay, so now you should be able to see me on the corner and also see the bird's eye view, so you can see the frame a little bit better as we make these ruffles. So this is what I was talking about. Normally when we do the ruffles, we just go straight to doing the gathering of the mesh. But in this case, we are going to fold our 21-inch mesh in half. We're just going to have the corners meet. Now usually mesh kind of likes to stick together. For some reason this one doesn't want to. Thought that would make it easier once it starts sticking. Okay, so once we have our edges gathered, we have it folded in half, we're going to do a regular ruffle. Now if you haven't done a ruffle, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to get everything set up. But we also have other videos that you can watch where I go step by step as well, if you want to watch some other ruffle ones where I'm not folding the mesh. So the main thing is to go to the edge of your ruffle, your piece that you've cut. You're going to have your thumbs at the middle, and then you're just basically going to hold it. Your thumbs are going to stay in place, and you're just going to walk it up and gather. And it makes a ruffle. Now with this one being on the 21-inch and we cut it at 30 inches, it's going to be a little bit bigger than the usual. So I'm going to start here at the corner. Skipping that corner and going right to the next side, and we're putting it there right in the middle, and we're going to grab our chenille stem, cross over, and just pull nice and tight and give it a twist, and that'll keep it in place. And we're going to go all the way around with that. Now you could go ahead and do a and I'm actually going to do that. Let me alternate your colors. So we're going to do purple, gold, all the way around. Yes! Hi! Thank you for joining. I thought it was neat because it kind of would cover. It's what I'm thinking with it being doubled up. And with the 21 inches, kind of, you know, we're limited as to how we can use it. Well, not limited, but makes a bit of a difference. Makes it a little bit thicker. So same thing here with the ruffle. We're just going to gather in the middle, and I'm going the long way because I do want the ruffle to be much bigger. And I'm just starting on the outer rim. And we want to make sure that they're good neighbors to one another. We're just going to lift that puff, that ruffle, to make sure that they help each other to stand up. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around, just alternating our colors. And then we're going to be adding our tubing and our ribbons and so on. So glad you were able to join us today. Just making sure our edges are matching as close as possible. And then we're going to do our ruffle. Okay, again to the edge, thumbs in the middle, and we're just going to gather it in, just bring it on in. Okay, now I'm going to that corner. Still on that outer rim, and going to do the same thing here, just making sure that we have our ruffles being good neighbors to one another. Finding our middle. Lifting that other ruffle so we can make sure we're neighborly. So again, these are cut at 30 inches. You can go smaller if you like, depending on how big you want your ruffles to be. Or if you want to be able to do all one color, definitely we'll go down to maybe 20 inches so you can have enough to go all the way around with the ruffles. It's looking pretty full already. Okay, just folding in half, getting to our middle, and gathering. Keep saying for them to be good neighbors, and I keep thinking of like that State Farm commercial, like a good neighbor. So I want to make sure the ruffles are good neighbors. I don't know why that came to mind. So if you're liking this thus far, please do give us a thumbs up. That way I'll know that you like this kind of video, this kind of tutorial, and I'll be sure to make some more. I try to use that as my guide as to what you like to see. And I like to do variety, so I can switch things around. We'll be It'll be Valentine's this weekend. Anybody have some special plans? I will actually be doing a vendor show on Sunday, which is Valentine's Day. Be at the Spanish Trail Farmers Market and Crafts Show. They actually out there every second Sunday. We're gonna be trying it out. If it works out, we were thinking just maybe once a quarter, but if it gets really busy, we might do it every other month, and we'll just play that part by ear as to how often we'll go out there. But we're thinking at least once a quarter we'll be out there. So we'll be out there this Sunday, which is kind of odd to be out there at a vendor show on Valentine's Day, but it's only 10 to 2. So we'll still have the evening. We do have some cute little Valentine things that we'll be bringing out. Have some faux desserts, some centerpieces. We do have a couple of wreaths and a swag. Don't have too much for Valentine's, just a few pieces. But we're hoping it'll help those that might have waited till the last day. He'll be at the small shop. Oh, where's that at? I'd like to come visit. Where will you be? Is that in our local area, or where are you at? What city and state? Guess I need to ask that first. I may not be able to travel out to where you're at. Alright, still making sure they're being good neighbors. Want to make sure our ruffles are standing up. It's like big poofs. Old Town Spring. Oh, Texas. Ooh, I think that'll take me a couple of days to get there if I get on the road. How's the weather out there today? It's been raining over here in Florida. And it's actually gotten warmer, which I guess is a good thing, because that's what we're used to for Florida, but it was cold for a bit. And cold and rainy, not a good thing. Okay, I think this is our last ruffle for our outer rim. Ooh, from 70s to the 30s? Yikes, that sounds like what it does here in Florida. It's like one minute you're thinking, okay, you're too hot, and then you're like freezing cold. It's crazy how the weather does that. How's your son doing, by the way? Doing homework? I know last time there was some homework being done. Okay, this is what it looks like so far, just with the outer. We still gotta do the inner rim. $23 on Sunday. Ooh, no thank you. Monday. Yikes. I'm originally from New York, and I can tell you I do not miss that kind of weather. I do not miss having to deal with the shoveling of the snow, having to deal with the ice, and pretty much skating every time I went somewhere when I went outside. Yeah, some snow. Yes. I mean, it's pretty. I just don't like having to shovel the snow or having to defrost my car and, you know, all that ice on the windshield and I can't really see and all that stuff. It's just crazy. They had mentioned that we may get some snow out this way. I don't know. I mean, they always, you know, from time to time they say there'll be snow, and it's, you know, to me it's not really like the snow that I'm used to from up north. So when they say snow out here, it's like, really, I don't know. And it might be, you know, a little bit of snow flurries that don't even stick to the ground. It's just not the same. Oh, would that be more for because of the change with the hot weather going back and forth, or is it going to be raining as well with the having more ice? Okay, so as we go on to the inner rim, now we have to think about our neighbor ruffles, because now we want to make sure that the ones that are side by side are being good neighbors, and the ones that are top and bottom are behaving, because we want to make sure they hold each other up and not pin each other down. We want to make sure that they stand up. So as you put them down and play with the ruffles, just kind of move them around to make sure that they're not pinned down. It's kind of rare here as well. We hear of snow and it's kind of like, I kind of tell the story from time to time when they say there's going to be snow here. When I was going to college, we were going to finals. We were having finals. It was finals week, I remember. And there, you know, some snow flurries. They didn't even stick to the ground. And to me, it was nothing. So I went to school ready for my finals, and there was a note on the door. Closed due to inclement weather. And I remember getting so upset. I was so ready for my finals. We had to wait another week to do the finals. I'm sure others were happy because, you know, hey, more time for studying, right? I was like, but they didn't even stick on the ground. Why are we closing? But, you know, in areas where snow is not a usual thing, I can understand that. It's just then I was not too happy. Okay, again, just making sure that they're behaving, being good one to another. I'm hoping the colors are showing pretty well. We were playing with the settings of the camera because we noticed my purple top was showing blue and the mesh was showing blue. And we played with the colors hoping that it will show the right colors, but the mesh should be showing as purple, not blue. So we're using the Mardi Gras colors. And then we have gold and we have green. Getting so big I'm having to really push it out the way so I'll have room to make the ruffle. Okay, it's starting to get really curly, so I'm gonna get me some help here. Now you can use anything really to just put some weight on there. So on the TV it looks purple and gold, but not on the computer. So I wonder what's going on. Because on my computer, because I have my laptop hooked up, if I look at that screen, it's doing the same thing. It's blue. So I'm glad at least on the video it's showing purple. We were trying to figure out what was going on. We tried playing with all the settings on the colors. And then when we tested it on video, it looked purple, but our screen was still looking like it was blue. So I don't know what that's about. So I guess this might be the screen settings, even though the camera itself for the video is showing the right color. Okay. Purple. Purple. These are the biggest ruffles I've made thus far for a wreath. Well, no, when I do my sunflower wreath, they are 30 inches, but I don't fold them. The base is 30 and then I go to 20. Guess it just looks bigger because it's doubled up. Just kind of nice. I'm liking it. Makes it bigger. So this would be a nice thing to do for if you're selling, because it makes your base bigger. So this is a 14 inch, but with doing it this way, let's see, I'm at 27. So that's pretty good. Without having to get a bigger wreath form. Alrighty. Looks like we have just or I could be wrong. I'm just eyeballing it. I probably need to count. Yeah, it might be just 2 more or 1 more. Making sure they're behaving. Okay, looks like 1 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Looks like I'm missing a purple, or no. I have to put 2 purples together. Who knows? Oh, I do. They're so versatile for the square forms, because you could do the square. You could do like if I don't do my corners, you can still make it look round even though it's square. And you could do the diagonal. You could do half wreaths with the square forms. Just do half of it, you know, and just put it as a diamond, but do half of it. I have some tutorials on that as well. And then you could also, just as an extra tip, you can cut it to make corner swags. So there's lots you can do with a square wreath. Okay. Yay. Okay, let's find our corners. Here's a corner. Okay, so this is what we're going to do with our corners. And I have these cut smaller. So on the corners that we have the gold, we're going to use a purple cut. And you could either let it curl on its own or curl it if it doesn't. And then we're going to just basically curl it in half. And for the corners with purple, we'll use the gold. And I might actually have to fold this one in half. Let me see here. So I want to give it the shape. Oops. Can't find my stem. There we go. Hope you can see that on camera. Okay. Okay, so here's my inner ruffle, and then we have the outer ruffle, and I'm just basically tucking the middle part towards that inner, and then having the curls to stand out. So like that. Kind of like making a ribbon. Going to our other corner. And these are smaller, so no need to fold these. Just finding our middle and doing the same thing. And this is basically just to spread out those colors. And at the same time, adding shape to our square. So we can make those corners stand out. Thank you. Glad you like it. I like trying different new things. Okay, folding in half and then basically finding that middle again. Because now we're back at a gold one. Okay, now with this one, I'm spreading the ruffle so we can see the gold and opening it up and then making the, now try to turn that so you'll be able to see it. So that way you can have the gold in the purple. Still see blue though, but it's purple. Okay, make sure we're at a corner. Okay, purple. So this one has the curls just standing out, and we're back at the other end. So it looks like I've cut some extra. Woohoo! Okay, so this, let's see, there we go. This is our look so far. Now we still have some green to add, and I mentioned about the tubing. Tubing is best not to stretch it, so I'll show you how we'll cut that. Okay, let's find our edge here. Okay, so we did 30-inch. The key here will be to make sure that our tubing is going to stick out. So with us having 30-inch ruffles, we may have to go with 30 inches on the tubing. Now you can kind of, let's see. And remember not to stretch the tubing, just kind of let it do its own thing, because it does stretch, it does have some give, and then usually once you overstretch it, it doesn't stay with the shaping. I don't know if you can see that stretch. Okay, so if we go with 30 inches and we fold it, we could either leave it stringy, we just want to make sure it stands out, or we can make a flower type, just kind of fold it onto itself, kind of like a little bow, and then put it in there. Another thing you can do is actually just run it through, just like we were doing with the ruffles, and just kind of go in and out and zigzag it. That's another look as well. I use that more for Halloween time, just because it looks like there's worms and snakes going through. So with these, I'm going to actually make some bows. I'm gonna actually go a little bit longer, so I want to make sure they will be able to see it. Okay, let's try that out and see. Okay, so with these, all I do is just kind of cross them over to make sure that we have enough to be able to close it in with the stems. Okay. And then just right from the middle, gather it. You can gather it some more if you need something smaller. In this case, we want something to stay long enough to where it'll be seen and not hidden. And I'll show you what that looks like. So it's basically like making a small bow. Not small per se, but the same concept, I guess, is what I'm trying to say with doing the loops. And then you can position them so that they'll stand out, so you can still see some of the greenery. If we would have gone smaller, you wouldn't be able to see the loop. But you can judge that. You could eyeball it, decide if you want smaller or bigger loops. I'm just basically doing a yard and cutting it. And you don't have to necessarily go all the way around. It depends on how much green you want to add, or depending on what color tubing you're going to be using. The main thing is to spread the love. Now this you could get at the dollar store. Some of them you can see with it being from the dollar store, it's already got some kinks in it. But again, with the mesh and actually putting everything together, you really can't tell much. If I was making smaller, doing the loops a little bit smaller, I would probably cut out the kinks because they would be more noticeable if it was a smaller wreath. But again, no rules, it's entirely up to you. I just noticed this one doesn't have, is that a corner? Oh no, it's not a corner. It's like, why doesn't that one have purple? Okay, just trying not to stretch it. They don't have to be exact. See where we go from here. Might not need, I'd always add some ribbon. We do have some ribbon that we can add to it. They don't. Have you tried for the Dollar Tree, have you tried going online? Because they do have the website, you can order online, and since you also sell wreaths, you can also set it up an account as a vendor, so you won't have to pay taxes. Just saying, in case you haven't tried that before. And they usually have more online. You just would have to buy more in bulk. So if it's something that you use a lot, or something that you like to start using, that might be a way to go. There's some things that I use on a regular basis that I've done the boxes from the store, the Dollar Tree, and just order it online and then pick it up at the store. And you don't pay no shipping when you do it that way. At the dollar stores here, sometimes one will have some things and the other won't, and so on, but online I find it's a little bit better and easier, more of a variety and more options. What other stores do you have out there? Do you use more like Hobby Lobby or Michael's? Is that even out there in Texas? I don't know. The wreath frames, you do that online? Okay, good. they are. They're good. Hope you could catch the grab bags one day at the Michael's store. Okay, it's coming together nicely. Hopefully we'll have enough tubing in this bag. If not, we have more. Have a couple more bags. Did you get to see my video on the grab bags to see how you can try to catch it? If you haven't, the trick is, depending on how regularly you can go, you don't have to go to regularly to Michael's, but if you go to Michael's and you see they start having the sales, like they start having their 50, 60, 70% off, the higher the percentage, the closer they're getting to the grab bags. Once they're at that 80%, usually that next week, things start going at the 90%, which is when they do the grab bags. And another thing is that they do it at the end of a season, for like a holiday, like for the fall. They actually did it in January. Was it January? November, I think. Like at the end of November, December. And then when they did it in January, we had all the Christmas items. So the next one should have some Valentine items in it, possibly some spring items, St. Patrick items. So it seems to be like almost every 3 months. I'll try to keep an eye out and put a posting to do an alert. Grab bags are coming. Okay, almost there. Okay, another tip I want to share, for the pipe cleaners, chenille stems, you can tuck them under or cut them once you're done with your wreath, and you know you're not going to need any more room for adding any other embellishments or ribbons and things of that nature. Normally you would cut it or you could tuck it under, but you could also add those styrofoam, they call them, I think it's vase fillers, but they have them in different colors and shapes, and the dollar store does carry them, but usually you can get different colors and shapes and such at Hobby Lobby and Michael's as well, if you don't have a another vendor that you normally go to. And I'll show you some of those once we get to that next step here. You can add those to the end of the chenille stem instead of cutting it or tucking it under. Alright, looks like we made it all the way around. Yay! Okay. Out the way. So we do have a bow that I was thinking of adding, but I'm not too sure, so I'm just going to leave that to the side. And these are the vase or vase fillers that I was talking about. They have bags. Sometimes they have the mixed colors together, or they have just one color in each bag, but they always do have different sizes. Now let's see if I can grab the different sizes here. Like in this case we have, maybe if I do different colors you'll be able to see that. Okay, so see how we have a small gold and then we have the bigger green, and they do that with the different colors. So you can alternate those colors and sizes and add that on to the end of your chenille stems, and I'll show you how we do that. And then you can mix and match your colors. Let me see if I can. So what I'm going to do is, let me look for the gold here. Since we have gold and green on this side, I'm going to grab our purple, since we're doing the purple, green, and gold colors. And basically we're going to use, let me go ahead and just push that down. See the end of the stems, the chenille stems, is where you're going to put these in. And if you hold it right at the tip, you'll be able to push that in. Now you could put a little bit of hot glue on it, like you could push it in and then take it back out, put hot glue, and then put it back on to make sure it stays put. You could vary the size. You could do the same color, or you could change it up, but basically it just adds a little bit of bling to your wreath. So I'm gonna move that up a little bit. Okay, okay, for this one I'm gonna do some gold, since we have purple and gold. And then you could always mix and match in the middle. This is just to add a little bit more oomph, more definition. You could do both, start from both the same size, or you can alternate the size or even alternate the colors. You could add ribbon or not add ribbon. We've got options. Move this over. And I find sometimes when using these, we may not necessarily need ribbons. Or if you want to keep on adding and make it more full, more bulky, we can definitely do that. It's all based on your preference. And if you're not doing a custom order, like some of us may have custom orders, you know, for customers, and they're not specific on how they want it, you can pretty much just go with whatever you'd like. So for me, what I'm doing now is where I have the gold mesh, which is the green tubing, I'm adding purple just to kind of add more to the colors in each section. And right now I'm just going on the outer. So this one's got the purple and green, so I'm going to use gold. Going to add ribbons? Yes, we can add ribbons at any point. Even after adding the star forms. Normally you will leave this to the end, but I noticed the time, so I wanted to show how I do that. Okay. Let me show you how I cut my ribbons. So we have some gold. And we have some purple. And I absolutely love this one because it's got all three colors. You can see that with the stripes. Okay, so I'm gonna just add them here to my roller just to make it easier for cutting and faster. I'm gonna go with a 12-inch, and I'm thinking I'm gonna actually keep it with just these two. And I do have, I love these. They're called Perfect Tails. And they come in the different measurements, so it just makes it easier for cutting. So both of these are wired ribbons, the 2.5 and the 1.5 inch. Okay, just this 10 for now. We need 20. Just wanted to cut them all at one time. And for dovetailing, all we have to do is have those corners meet each other. We fold them. And you could do a few at a time or do a couple at a time. And let's see. I want to make sure you can see that on the video. And then we're just going to cut diagonally towards that corner. Okay? So when we open it up, it's got that dovetail. Okay? Gonna do it again on that other side. We're just making our corners meet, cutting diagonally towards the corner, and there's the dovetails. Okay, works the same way regardless of the size of the ribbon. The scissors I'm using are the Westcott scissors. I have used some canvas ribbons before, and I thought these were not gonna do, and they actually went right through. So I really love those. I think I have the affiliate link on that on the video as well. Okay, just cutting diagonally towards that corner, and it gives us the dovetail. Cannot see that my accent kicked in. Now I'm just separating them mainly because they're different sizes. If they were the same size, I would just cut them together. I was just cutting the 12 inches together because it was faster. Okay, just making sure our ends meet so we can get to our corners. I'm going to fold it in half, make sure all the corners are together, and cut diagonally. It's like I missed one somehow. Now on these we have a shiny side and a non-shiny side. So So once we're putting them on the wreath, we want to make sure they're all facing up to show the shine. And I'll show you there's a couple of different ways to add the ribbon onto your wreath. And again, it will be based on your preference, which way, of course, you want to put them on. You could also put them at every stem, or you could alternate. Entirely up to you. I'm gonna cut my over 10. Should have just started doing that together. And actually, I don't need 10. Hold on. I'm getting all, since I didn't cut them ahead of time. With us having 20, we need 20 ribbons. We really don't need to cut the same amount of both because we're going to be alternating. So since I miscounted, or it's kind of got cut up in the middle, I'll wait until we get all the way around and see if we need any more. Rather have to cut more than cut too many, although you can use remnant ribbons. I have some videos on that as well. Okay, so here we go. A couple of different things you can do for your ribbons. If you're going to use both and they're different sizes, of course, always use your thinner width on top. So that'll be one thing. I always fold mine to get to that middle, just so I know where to scrunch it. And you can just scrunch it in your hand, or you can do the scrunching here, entirely up to you. If you run your fingers through on the bottom, it gives it that curl. I like doing that ahead of time so they're already curled up. And then to add it, we're just going to use that same stem and give it a twist. And once you know you're not adding anything else, you can give that stem a couple of twists. Now here on the ribbon, you could either do the one ribbon, one color up and the other color down. Now I'll go ahead and just change the view. So you can have, in this case I have gold and then the purple down. Or you could alternate so that you can have both colors on top and bottom. And normally, if you're going to do smaller loops with your pipe, the mesh pipe, you could actually do that on top. But since it's bigger, we can leave it right where it's at. So now we have the alternating colors on both top and bottom, which is normally the way I do them, just to kind of have the colors spread out. And then we go all the way around. And you could do your outer rim with the alternating zigzag colors, and then do your inner rim with one color up and the other color down. You can mix and match. Again, no rules. That's another reason why I love making the wreath, because it doesn't always have to be the same. You can change it up based on your preference, and or just to make something different. And as I do twist them up and down for the variety of the color, what I do is, if I have the other gold going down, then I try to have it going up on the other. But you can do either or, because again, we're just spreading the colors around. Or you could do a crisscross. When using 3 ribbons, I alternate it a little bit more as well. Again, just for the variety. Just gives it more definition and makes the eye look more all the way around. like using wired ribbons because they're easier to shape. So even if you're moving the wreath from one location to another and your ribbons might get twisted up, it's easier to reshape them. Same thing for when you make a bow. If it gets flattened out, you can reshape it and it's easy peasy. Okay, we're at a part where we have some of our styrofoam bowls, and I'll show you how it does not get in the way at all of doing your ribbons. So since we're not using 3 and we're not alternating ribbons, we will need to cut some more ribbon. Unless we alternate and not do the ribbons on both. This is what I mentioned with the cutting of the mesh at the beginning, where you would have to count how many cuts of everything you'll need. So once you decide what pattern you're going to have and how you want things distributed, then you could decide from there and know how much to cut of each item. With this one, I was winging it, so I was trying something new. Another thing you can try, especially with this theme, since we have purple on some and gold on the other, you could also do just purple ribbon with the gold and then do the gold with the purple mesh to kind of spread some of the colors around. We've got options. I think we may do florals for next week. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. I think that's what I'm gearing towards. Did a floral for a Valentine piece. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember now. Days are running together. To add the styrofoams to those other ones. Oops. I like the shiny on this one. And for Mardi Gras, I think for, at least for this side, I know it's not much on the north side. The more bling, the better. I read something on what the colors mean some time ago, trying to do research on what Mardi Gras was all about, because I had no idea. You know, they have the Fat Tuesday and the different parades and all of that. And if I remember correctly, I know one of the things is money, the other one's prosperity, and I can't remember what the other color is. So there's the method. All of these colors playing together. Getting pretty full. forgetting, I think it's already kind of full. We still have more ribbons to add in the middle. And we still have some styrofoam balls. Time just got by me, but I really wish I would have gotten to cut everything before getting on the video. Alrighty, doing dovetails again. Again, just folding in half and cutting diagonally towards the corner. And in case you're just joining us, we are using a square wreath form to make this Mardi Gras wreath. And we cut the mesh at 30 inches so it'll make it bigger, because the frame is actually just 14 inches. But we're doing it that way, it extends it out. I think we measured it to 27 inches. So it does add a little bit more body in size. Okay, how are we doing out there? I'll probably add the bow and the rest of the balls off video, because I was trying not to do all the ribbons. And then I'll post a picture of it, mainly because of time. I want to make the video so long that you may not get to watch it all. But you could always replay. Okay. Here we go. Again, using the smaller ribbon, putting that on top to make sure we don't hide it. Finding our middle. And we're going to scrunch. Okay, and where we're pinching on the middle is where we're going to go towards that chenille stem pipe cleaner, and we're going to tighten it on there and then spread our ribbons. Once you know again that you're not going to be adding any more embellishments, you could decide if you want to either tuck in the stems or cut them, or you could add more embellishments to the end of the stem to just add a little bit more definition to your wreath, like I did with some of those styrofoam bowls. Oops, we already have ribbons on here. Ah, guess I need to pay more attention, y'all. Alright, since I'm here and this one doesn't have the styrofoam balls, I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Mix the colors here. Oops, no, I don't want blue. Just going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okie dokie. Okay, now my outer have it. Here we go. Moving on to the inner rim and adding our ribbons. I think while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add the styrofoam ball so we'll know it's all ready to go. Excuse me. Okay. Our ruffles are so big, it's kind of, we gotta move them out the way just to be able to see where the stems are at. That's not a bad problem to have, is it? The bigger they are, the more they will stand out. And some more of this purple. Purple. Purple, magenta, mixture thereof. Okay. More green, please. I think the green is the money. Or is it the gold for the Mardi Gras? I think the purple is the royalty. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to find a way to have these without it taking too much space and actually have the colors split up. I don't know, or at least the themes. But I thought it would be nice to just have everything together. I have to just separate them before for a specific theme, I guess. Uh-oh. Just saw something else. It'll still work. Okay, how many more do we need? Because this one's bigger. Just the two. We make do with what we have. Wonderful thing about mesh is that it's very forgiving, and it hides things pretty well. That's why the cuts don't have to be necessarily exact, unless we're OCD, I guess. I was told a couple of times that I'm OCD. But I think with my wreath therapy, as I call it, with making the wreaths, I've gotten away from all of that. I've been liberated. Making wreaths and swags and being a creative, as some call us, that like to create and make things for decorations and make things pretty, should be fun. Shouldn't be stressful. If it starts being stressful, it's not a good thing. Ah, okay. Thank you so much for joining us. I know this one was a little bit longer. This tutorial was a little bit longer, this video, than normal. So I understand. One more. One more, one more. Okay, last one. don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but this Deco Mesh I got, I think it was at Walmart. They had it on sale. You can tell it's really fraying a lot. That may have been why it was on sale, I don't know. But we can definitely just cut the fraying. Alright, got a few more little sprays hanging around, but we can definitely do that off video. Just wanted to cut those real long ones that were kind of getting on my nerves. Must be that OCD thing, I don't know. Okay, there it is. Now from here you can either add a bow, or you can add a sign if you have a sign, you know, like let the good times roll, which is something that they use for the Mardi Gras, one of their sayings. Or if you have, let's see, I have for my, I'm making a centerpiece as well. But if you have like picks, something like that, you can add on throughout as more embellishments. Even some masks. Some of the other wreaths that I've made before, in the swag that I made before, I added a mask, if you've seen that video. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of add more to it. And I probably will add, I think I have a couple of masks in my storage area in the other room, and I'll probably just add that on afterwards. So I did not bring that out, but I like how you can see the styrofoam bowls to add a little bit of the bling. You have some of the glitter from the ribbon, and we have all three colors. And then adding the mask or a sign will then just add that last little bit of oomph, or even a bow if you want to make a bow to add on the side or the center or the bottom, depending on where you would like to see it. But you can kind of see the square. Oops, let me do it that way. See how we have the square? This is one of the corners. So you can leave it diagonal, or you can leave it as an actual square. I like kind of doing the diagonal and putting my little hanging piece on one of the corners. That way you can kind of see the diagonal but still see the square. So that's normally the way I do mine, just so I can show it a little bit different. Doesn't always have to be a straight and square. Just to be a little bit different, I guess. So I hope even with all the crazy of trying something new and miscounting and all of that good stuff, that you've enjoyed this video and this tutorial. If you have, please do give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. I'm also on Facebook, and I will be, again, I mentioned about being out at a vendor show. So if you want to find out about our vendor shows and upcoming events and different things, do subscribe to our e-newsletter. And also maybe if you don't do the newsletters, do the Facebook, like us on there. We can we share our events on that as well. So hope to see you or hear from you and see your comments, and that you will join us next time. We'll be here again on Friday, 8 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be moving on to florals, I think, next week. If you want to see something different, let me know. We did do fake cake pops a couple of weeks or so ago, and I do have some cakes and more desserts. I don't know if you can see them here. I'm going to change the video, the camera view, so you can maybe see that, and then I'll hold the wreath up front so you'll be able to do a different view. You can kind of see my fake desserts on the background, but this is the wreath so that you can see it a little bit bigger. You can see some of the bling and all the different things on it. So we just need to add our mask or a sign depending on what we would choose to add on. And again, I'll see you next week, Friday, 8 p.m. Central. Thanks again for joining me, and until next time, please stay safe, stay liquid. Bye-bye.